ISPP poo poo. Okay, I think it's back. Yay! Alright, I think it's back. We shall see. Let's just keep going. Alright. It's Fox! How the fuck did Twitch not crash me? It just kept buffering until literally just now. Huh. Stream no more yeeting, please. It figures, right? My first time back in like 2 weeks. Here's what I'm gonna do. Hang on. Welcome back, Fox. Also, fuck you! We're actually gonna have the piece of whatever the hell that is meat. I'm assuming it's like a turkey leg or something. We're just gonna kind of doodle that in. Admittedly, if I was doing a more, like... If this was more about, like, creating, like, a really fine-tuned final doodle, then I would actually, like, you know... try and, Actually, what we could do is... Yeah, kind of have it, like, hanging out from his mouth. And then, almost like there was, like, kind of like a pop when he, like, looked up. This is pretty good music, I will say. There'll be no swearing in my dedicated Quiston Minecraft server. Oh, you're drawing that? Yeah, Wendigo. Omega Woo. In this Christian Minecraft server faints. I saw my computer buffering again and I almost shat. Oh, this server is far from Christian. If anything, the stream is like 2BT2 of 2BT2? I don't know what that is. I know what they're called. Go ahead. I'm just saying. I've been P on the server. Oh boy, I get to say the name now. I have 2BT2 is the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft. Oh. Oh! I know what that is. Okay. No. Oh, Tara. The ISPP, the dog screaming, damn, me too. It really is a Dr. Josh Fox stream. Alright, I don't know if Bonds... you know what? I actually do kind of want to still give it, like, that wooden texture. I don't know. I just think that that's a really cool idea. Just make it almost kind of look like it's made out of wood instead of, This is really good music. Like, damn. I might actually listen to the full soundtrack of this if it's not already on here. Dear Tim Fallen, please come back to music. We miss you. Alright, so basically my main things I'd want you to work on, Bonzi, if you're still watching, is drawing through, since I kind of get the impression you didn't for this drawing. Definitely emphasize, like, the body shape and whatnot, because they're meant to be thin, so make them, like thin. Like, ribcage. Something like that. Admittedly, this more makes it look like that they have boobs, but, like, you know, rough drawing. You get what I'm getting at. You're picking up what I'm throwing. I think, and pose. I think helping with the pose would go a long way and help make the character look a little bit more frightening. Oh, that spawn. No, they're not It's underwater and there's a crate of lava, a giant obsidian faction goes in the sky. Falls. Oh, that's fun. I don't know what Okay, so yeah, anyway, Bonzi, those are the things I want you to focus on. Drawing through your anatomy and also your posing, I think could go a long way to help. I get the feeling that mostly what you like to focus on when drawing this character is his face, as I feel like that's the best rendered part, and that's good. That's good. But you should be pushing that detail to every other part of the drawing. This still isn't too bad, though. I really like the creativity of the kind of wooden-looking horns, and I like the idea of having, like, a Wendigo character. Again, not something you see a lot of, probably because they're very historically and culturally significant creatures, but I still think it's a pretty cool idea, provided that, you know, you stay respectful about it, which I'm confident you would. Alright, so, barring that's done. I still feel like I could have done the pose better, but, like, you know, just an idea. Like, maybe he's, like, holding it and whatever. Like, I feel like I could have done the pose better. I should have gone with that first idea that I had where the character was kind of, like, crouched over. Anyway, we're gonna look at more Butch Hartman art and make fun of it. Okay, so, obviously, I didn't do this, drawing. I don't know who'd make these corrections here. Hang on. I believe it's, Oh, this is just this is just from the original art. Okay, I thought this was like a fan art redraw of it. Okay. Hang on. So just real quick, we're not going to be like covering the dip or dib or whatever his name is, but this is like the version, this is the original art. This is the version that Butch drew. Aside from the fact it's obviously just a knockoff of like the actual art, it looks so much worse. Sorry about that, D. I feel ya. You're free to critique mine on stream if I said that. I forgot. Oh, okay. We can do yours next then. You saw a ton of flamingos at the... Oh, yeah, I showed Choco the pictures of the flamingos. It looks like one of those shit... It does! It does look... I know exactly what you're talking about. It does look like one of those. Or, you know, like an 8th grader traced over it when they were practicing Adobe Illustrator for the first time. Come on, he couldn't even get the dimensions of the coat right. Come on, Butch. Come on! I'm almost tempted to see if I can redraw Dib in the Fairly Odd Parents. His name is Dib, right? It's been a while. But, oh. Ah. Hang on. This one's a little bit more relevant to, to our tastes. What did he do to you, Twilight? So it's not the worst Butch drawing I've ever seen, but oh man, is not a very good representation of horse. It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not the worst, but there's definitely things that bother me. Like, for starters, we're being rated by Voltage. Thank you very much, Voltage. But for starters, why does the horn look... Oh, the horn. Why does the hoof look like it's made out of paper? What is going on with the wings? Where is the legs? What? Why is the mouth there? It looks really weird when there's no connective bit to it. Why does she look like she wants to kill me? Why is the horn not connected to her head? Never mind, this sucks. It's a valiant attempt. I will give Butch... Also, no cutie mark. You've achieved greatness, Voltage? Now you zoomed in with the teeth. Yeah, it's... I get it. I get what he's trying to do, but... Ugh. Yeah, not great. I'm gonna look up Twilight Sparkle. And we're gonna see what we can do with this art. Gee, I wonder if this song is Spider-Man. Yup. Teeth is something I struggle with, mostly in general. Despite being good at expressions, I actually very much dislike mouths in general. I got a No Armor Victor Royale and Super Royale, top down for a fortnight. I'll drink. Hey, congrats, Voltage! I don't watch out for Friendship is Magic, but that thing I'm looking at is pain. I don't think I felt pain like this in a hot minute. God damn. Oh, we didn't even get her hair right either. Alright, let's give it a go. I don't hate the pose. I think the pose is fine. I think we can mostly keep that. I mean, to be fair, if we didn't, then this would just be a completely unrelated piece of art. That's kind of the hard part of doing, like whenever he does, like, I want to say fan art, but I don't know if he's probably not, like, a fan of ponies. He probably just drew it because it's, like, a popular thing, and people wanted him to do it, so he's like, okay, bronies. If people were still calling themselves that back then. I don't know, honestly. Now you guys get to see my incredibly odd, awkward way of drawing ponies. Although, to be fair, you guys have seen me draw ponies before. I will give Butch this. Ponies are deceptively difficult to draw. They're not as easy to draw as you think. But I am certainly going to give it a try. That's bed hair. Her wings do look weird. Like, it's like... Okay, so obviously when you're looking at the design, it's just a big row of wings and a smaller one. But that smaller one, just on its own, and just the volume of the wings, helps to suggest that there's like a whole, like, hundreds of feathers there. With him, it's so, like, flat and thin. It looks like these are, like, they're more like tendrils. She also has a pig nose, which, yeah. She looks like my little pig. And in my style, I think I could do better than Butch, and that's just... Well, I mean, you're a really good artist, Kim. I've drawn Yichu's wings similar to how they look in MLP, come to think of it. I'm referring to a Twitter... Oh, Denshaku. No. No. Never. Not on the internet. No one's accepted on the internet. There will always be, like, people who, like... I'm dissing the drawing. Does Butch's drawing of Twilight need to go be on the set of The Godfather? I don't quite get the joke. The internet, only place where you could be both right and wrong, where you could be both right and wrong at the same time. Oh, I didn't know he did the Terminator 2 music. I will say this, actually. Like, LJN games tend to obviously suck, but I will say this. Some of them had pretty rockin' music. Some of them. Not all of them. Hey, Milksteak, thank you for the host. Hello, we actually looked over your art, by the way. Oh, also, just as an aside now I'm looking at it, there should be more volume here. But there isn't. It's just kind of a noodle. Oh, Butch, come on. And just from the positioning of the legs, this leg would be longer if she extended it out. Oh, Butch, come on. It's like you doodled this on a napkin. Twilight is a hearse. Why does the Butch Hartman art make me want to play Sonic 06 to full completion? Because at least when you're doing Sonic 06, you can look at some of the assets and say, that looks okay! The Incredibles, Toy Story, Star Wars, George Lucas Saga, Indiana Jones Trilogy, Coco the Godfather Trilogy, The Hunger Games Saga, The End of Evangelion. What? When I have children, I'm only going to allow them to select group of media, only the cream of the crop of human creativity. Why the Hunger Games? I don't know. Maybe I'm like an outsider on that one, but I never liked the Hunger Games very much. Like, maybe I'm a minority on that. I just never liked those movies very much. Or the... Well, okay, to be fair, I was gonna say the books, but then I remember it's like I haven't really read any of them to completion, so that might not be fair. From what I did read, they just sort of like not similar energy. I felt like they were more raw than the books, but raw than the movies, but definitely kind of like just a similar kind of meh. I'm not a big fan of a lot of YA novels and their adaptations, so that probably doesn't help. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm just trying to actually measure out the legs. Butch! I can't get over that. Jesus Christ. I think I got a little bit too caught up in trying to keep it proportionate, though, because my version of the pose is coming out looking very stiff. So I might do another pass on this. You know, I've got the idea of how I want to pose it down, so I should be able to just go back in, fix it up. I want Aaron Paul to say bitch fartman. That's oddly specific. So let's give this another pass. This time focusing more on trying to limber up the pose a little bit. Make it a little bit more expressive and such. Interstellar, Nacho Libre, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, Shrek, Sonic Adventure 2. I don't really like the way the bottom teeth are looking. It's really going to depend on, just... Frankly, if I'm being honest, I don't believe it necessary to control, at least to that extent, what your children watch. I feel like you should just focus on trying to make sure that they watch stuff that's age-appropriate versus, like, stuff that you deem as being good or bad or whatever. Sure, maybe that means when you have a child, you're going to have to deal with hours and hours of Peppa Pig, but I mean... And I'm not saying you can't encourage them to watch better things, but, like... The way I draw horses, actually, when I'm not trying to emulate the style, is very G5, I notice. I love that noise, like that like Atari noise. I love it. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna actually move the arm to have it be pointing up instead, because I think that will help make the pose a little bit more energetic. Again, the pose is one of the things I think is mostly fine, despite the debatable horse anatomy. But I mean, like, Oh, is it over? Oh, whoa! Target Renegade. Oh my god, that face! Oh, this music kicks ass, though. Yeah, that kicks ass. Like, damn. Like, I know it's Tim Fallon, but, like, holy crap. I love good, like, chiptune, like, NES, like, style music. Let me compliment you! F to stream again? Never mind. I'm thinking to myself as I look at my sketch and I'm like, wow, this is so much better. Yeah, look at it this way. You might feel bad about your art, but it will always be better than how Butch Hartman's art. Okay, Fox, if you want to get blown away, listen to the Pictionary and SDOSD that he can put. Did you say Pictionary? They got Tim Fallon on goddamn Pictionary? Well. Oh, Pictionary's actually in here! Oh, the Mikasa. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, here's the thing. That would be one of the ones I would redraw, but it's okay. The good version of it already exists, Butch! Oh, wow. I am not drawing this cutie mark very well. Hey, at least I'm drawing it, Butch. There we go. That looks a little better. Admittedly, it's a bit big, but I always liked big cutie marks. I don't know about you guys. I always liked them a little big. I do not envy the graphic designer who had to design this thing. Let's just kind of... Alright, so there is my interpretation of this Bing Bongman piece of art. Really, it didn't take much to fix. Just not making her look like a pig with noodle limbs. Butch. Frick? Frick what? Did the stream go down again? It's saying it's fine on my end. Huh. No, Butch was actually... I thought the stream... No, oh, no, but, yeah, no, Butch, Butch at one point was a decent artist. His art just kind of devolved at some point, or he got lazy. Kronos on the ZX Spectrum. Okay, so we're gonna call this Butch02. He was at one point, then ego inflated to zero fucks. Yeah. Okay, so next up we're gonna be looking at Kim's art. Kim is an unbelievably skilled artist. I should mention that I actually feel like that Kim draws better than I do. So I may not be able to provide an amazing amount of insight, but I'm at least gonna give it a shot. Oh, the pig! Henry! Okay, so rhythm of this is good, not digging the instrumentation. Oh, that's hurting my ears. Okay, I'm skipping this one. Sorry. Ugh. Yeah, like, that is really good. I don't really have too much to add. Basically, Kim here wanted some insight. I think they specifically said, they wanted... You're not really sure what to add or change. So, looking at the character, if I could just kind of get, like, a sketch of what I think might help. Not that I think that there's, like... Really, I think the character is fine, but, like, if you want kind of my input on what I would add... This might just end up looking like a bad version of your drawing. Sorry about that. And by the way, I'm not putting down my own art when I say I think Kim is a better artist than I am. Oh, thank you for the posture check, the stretch, and the hydrate. I should actually stretch a bit. Like, for real, not just kind of... I actually don't know how long we've been on. It's been about half an hour since the stream crashed, but I don't remember how long we were on before that. Okay. Well, since 7:30, so it's around an hour and a half. I'm asking for beer inside good to know for a different perspective about something you might see. Yeah. Okay, so, first of all, I really, really, really like the silhouette and shape of this guy. Like, if you look, you could very clearly tell who this is if we were to completely blank it out. It's like, this is Henry, the big boy. Very good. So that's already, like, a plus. Shit, this is hard. It's hard to provide insight. Remember when I did like I did some insight for Sayo a while ago, and it took me a while to find something to talk about. I ended up focusing mostly on the machine. Yes, it is in fact one of the rules of character design is that you should be asking for peer insight whenever it can be. Okay, I'm sorry. The ZX Spectrum. Like these noises are not pleasant. Like, maybe if they were, like, the backing track to something else, but as, like, ugh. Ugh, yeah, sorry. I don't like these. I don't like the ZX Spectrum music. Oh, and there's more. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I'm skipping these. Sorry, they're actually hurting my ears. Okay, some Plock music. Oh, thank God. I'm sorry to any people who grew up with the ZX Spectrum, but that sound was hurting my ears. Yes, I feel like you could easily identify this character's silhouette. There isn't a lot kind of getting in the way, is the big thing. Usually accessory hair is something that can help a character stick out. Yeah, I really like the hair that you kind of gave him, because it's like, here's the first part. Oh, here's the ear, but then there's like the hair to help okay. It helps break up the like the tedium of a character design, but also it's just a great way to help make his silhouette stand out a little bit more. Honestly, I'm not sure what I would fix. I think this would be good for like a pass, honestly, now that I'm looking at it. I think that this would be a perfectly good kind of design to go on and move on to the next steps, which would probably be figuring out the color. Which, if you want my feedback... Yeah, I can't redraw this. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Kim is a better artist than I am. But if I were to give some feedback... I'm still not good with color. If I were to give some feedback, is I would go for some earthy tones for his clothes to kind of offset the kind of naturally fleshy pinkish tone that his skin would probably be. So a palette, maybe like the outer jacket, maybe make it like a green, the inner jacket like a shirt like brown, like a brown or like a tan or something like that. His hair, I think, would be fine if you like made it like a dark brown or like a black or even like a dark gray. It depends on the age of the character. And obviously the thank you for banning Manning Wilkins. And the skin would be like a fleshy tone, like a pink or like a black or however. I can help with that. Fox is right with the earth tones, or if you want a particular theme, look up a trucker outfit. That's two. Or you go from a jean look to the jacket for a white fur shirt underneath, or the shirt that's kind of underneath. You know what I will do? I won't like redraw the piece because I do think that this is good, and honestly, the shape is better than anything I can do right now. But I do think, you know, if you make this kind of like a jacket vest, you could do something like, say, give him some plaid, which kind of gives the kind of truckery vibe, which is kind of the energy I'm getting from him. Like a farmer or like a trucker or something like that. So like some plaid. Make this kind of like a button-up. Give him some plaid. And I think that could potentially look really nice. This jacket would be like poofy. Maybe add like an emblem or something. I like the little glasses, but like, have like an emblem, like a logo or something like that here. Maybe make the collar a little rounder at the end here, just to kind of keep the softness of the coat going. Cause like it's rounder on this end, I noticed. So something like that. Maybe if you wanted, you could even make it like a little thicker. But I do kind of like how this looks, so I'd say maybe just leave it as is. Yeah, I like the lines to suggest the thickness and that it's like stuffed and whatnot. Yeah, other than that. Oh, well, plaid's actually really easy. You it's just lines, basically. As long as you got the perspective down, lines. In fact, it'll actually help with perspective. Other than that, I think you've got a really strong character design here. I don't really have anything other than some of the minor things that I suggested for the clothes I would fix. I think, yeah, you pretty much got a good thing going on here. I'm gonna copy this. And we're gonna move it over here. And there you go. Those are really the only fixes I would make. Thank you for banning Droop Dog. Because there's always a lot of bots these days. I do have email verification required, so there is at least that. I don't want to do phone verification. I don't want y'all giving Twitch your phone numbers if you don't have to. Unless it gets, like, really bad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think you're pretty much good, my dude. How'd you get so good with, like, shape language? Because I love the shape. I adore the shape of his head. The kind of, it's poking out, but it's not, like, almost like an arrow, but it's not, like, sharp. Like, that's really good shape language, dude. Really clean silhouette. This is a fantastic design. You did a really good job. Alright, and that's Kim's done. It wasn't a lot to talk about, because lines are your strong point. Yeah, I noticed. Really good. I love your sketches. They look so good. He's got a really friendly, satisfying look. I would love to, like... He looks like he'd be, like a neat side character, like a shopkeep in, like, a game where you'd, an adventurer where you're, like, kind of, like a trucker adventure, and he's one of the characters that you meet, and maybe you buy things from him or something. I don't know. Hell, he could be the main character, honestly. He looks really cute. I like him a lot. Milksteak, we've mostly just been focusing on... We just finished doing some feedback on Kim's character. As you can see, I had very little to actually fix. I only had suggestions, which was things like dressing him up in plaid, having a little emblem on the shirt, making the color a little softer. Other than that, that's really all I had to do. Kim's art was really fucking good. Milksteak, we went over your art. I like my rule that face needs to match the mood and posture. Well, yeah, naturally. If you ever need help with colors, please help me out. I have some graphic design and color design experience, so I bet... Yes, and it's also a good idea to get the opinion of other artists, rather, as we've said, but rather than just one, maybe check and see a couple others. Anyway, Milksteak, we took a look at your art, too. There it is. So, here are the main things I want you to focus on when you're drawing. Again, it was good. It's actually, I remember another time I saw one of your Sonic pieces, and this is a huge improvement over the last time I saw it. But one of the main things I would focus on is drawing through and remembering things like depth. Because one of the things I noticed is that on the drawing was that you didn't add like the bump where the eyebrow would be, which in the Sonic art style you kind of have to do. That helps to create depth and also helps to make emotions feel more like real. I also suggested pushing the emotions more because I was ranting about the way that Sega draws character emotions. Was that they tend to nowadays, or not draws, but they render them. Instead of doing something like this, where the character eyes are more, like, expressive. Like they move up. Which is odd, because the Sonic art style is so expressive by its nature. Instead, they just make the eyelids look angry. Which you didn't really do, but you could have pushed the expressions more. I did 2 variations. One where I made him look more aggressive, and one where I made him look more, like, stern. As you can see. The only real things I suggested, other than focusing on depth and expression, were cleaning up the silhouette a little bit by using larger shapes for the horns and positioning the ears in ways that are a little bit more easy, or that are a little easier to read. Other than that, though, it wasn't too bad. I think the design's pretty good, and it's definitely an improvement from the last time you drew a Sonic character that I saw. So good work. You're showing a lot of improvement, Milksteak. Just keep those notes in mind. Alright, we're gonna look at some more bitch Fartman art because I love torturing myself. Oh my god. Is this real? Is this a... This has to be a joke. This has to be a joke. Like, he has to be clowning here. Hi, Bonzi. Larger shapes with more depth. Got it. Also, push the expressions. Sonic characters are very classic and very rubbery. Yes. Thank you for the... Oh, yes, Bonzi, I did your Damien. Real quick before we, do Bitch Fartman, let's take a look at Damien super quick. The main things I wanted you to focus on were, are adding in things like a line of action to make to help make the pose more organic and dynamic, drawing through to help with anatomy, and bitch on that face. Oh, bitch on that face. I like the level of detail you put into the face, and I really like the detail that you made the, yeah, draw more curves. Because something that I pointed out was your character is meant to be very thin. I can see their ribs, and that makes sense. That's a good detail. Because it makes them look more monstrous. But you should be following through with the shapes of that as well. If you look at how I drew Damien, I made his stomach very pushed in, to the point where it would probably be practically touching his spine. So if you look, there's more like a... And then you see the bones of where his hips are and things like that. That helps make him look much thinner like he is, which actually helps to emphasize the fact that he's kind of tall and big and monstrous and scary. I also added a bit more detail where the face is kind of... Where the flesh and the bone would kind of meet and be torn off. And I gave a bit more energy to the pose, where it's kind of like he's turning his head while after he's in the middle of biting a thing. I didn't do a very good job of displaying the rendered flesh, but you get what you're picking up what I'm dropping, right? You're picking up what I'm throwing. That aside, I really liked the detail of the horns, kind of looking like they're made out of wood, so I really pushed that. I real quickly added in some more, like, things to make them almost look like branches. Yeah, the line of action. The eating the meat. And yeah, like I said, line of action, I added like a curve. Admittedly, I didn't follow 100%, but it gave him a more kind of like curved posture. It gave him a slightly more hunched looking posture. It made him look more feral and scary. I think you've got a cool idea for a character here, and I'm definitely seeing some great foundations for art here, but there is some things I do feel like you need to improve on. I think drawing through would help you a ton. I think working on things like line of action would help make your poses feel more organic. And I also feel like keeping track of certain elements of the anatomy would help too. If you look here, this one hoof, which I presume is supposed to be facing the camera, is much shorter than this one. But drawing through will help with the perspective of that a lot. Maybe he's very lanky and tall. He just kind of bend over. But so there you go. So draw him hunching over a little bit more and things like that. That also helps bring out character. The stance is curved, yes. So overall, it's a cool character, and this isn't a bad piece of art. There is room for improvement, but to be fair, everyone has room for improvement. I have room for improvement. So keep drawing, keep at it, and just keep what I have in mind. Just draw through, and remember to include that sweet, sweet line of action, which normally I like to start from the head, but it doesn't have to start from the head. It can, like, I mean, I start from the head because, oh, it's Magic Johnson's fast break. I normally start from the head because I like starting the drawing from the head, but whatever. I can't color, I need improvement. I do have one picture that's better. Fair enough. But still, it's good. Same, Fox. No, Denshako, I haven't covered yours yet. Well, if you ever want opinions on colors, apparently I am pretty good at that, so I'd be more than happy to take a look. Anyway, so Bonzi, your drawing was good, and it was a lot of fun to go over. Alright, Bitch Fartman. So what I was talking about was this particular piece. I have no idea if this was meant as a joke or not. That's the thing with Butch, you never know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up Gumball and Darwin. I am expecting to find porn, sadly. I really hope I do. Oh, hold up! Hold up! Hold the fuck up! He drew pretty good horses! I mean, they've got the pee-pee lighting and the line quality is not great, but look! He knows how a horse works! He used to be good, but this was, like, fairly recently! And then how did the oh my god. Butch, you make me so mad! Ah! Oh my god. Was this from an episode? Is this actually a thing? Because he labeled it as 10 years later. And that's not what that is! Hi, Hama! So it wasn't from an episode. Okay, so going with that... A Butch Hartman episode he does on YouTube. Oh, that's what you mean! I thought you meant from an episode of Gumball. So I'm trying to find, like, character sheets for them or something. Yeah, I'm just gonna look up, them individually. I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, I'm very much not a big fan of that. There's, some interesting stuff going on when you look these up. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this version, because, I don't know, later season Gumball kind of gives me the impression that he wants to knife me over and over again. So let's use this one from, like, the first season. think he's actually shorter. I mean, not that it particularly matters, but anyway, something Gumball will destroy the middle class. So what we're doing here is we're going to try and make these characters not look terrifying. Torn and oversized like a girlfriend wearing a boyfriend shirt like a teen flick. Oh, by the way, thank you for the biddies, Bonzi. I don't think I said. Quick question. How do you draw clothes on Damien? Yeah, torn and oversized. I respawned. I brought alcohol. I'd say, like, ripped up. Oh, you're just chinning, Hama? Aw, cozy. They had the whole Fourth Wall fanfic episode. It was weird. Yes, I know. What kind of alcohol? Maybe that's what Butch was going for, but, like, couple of things. Okay, so, first of all, no, that's not what they would look like in 10 years. No. Second of all, why does Darwin have fangs? Third of all, what is going on with his eyes? Fourthly, why does Gumball have the big cheeks? Again, I feel like this is a joke. But whatever. Going with the premise, let's hopefully see if we can design better 10 plus years later. I'm not sure of the specific ages of these characters, so you're gonna have to forgive me. I've not watched a ton of I've seen enough. I've seen a good amount, just like not like a ton. Cider. But yeah, a Bonzi. I would say torn up. Probably made it of like animal flesh. Or animal like fur, stuff like that, you know? Very cobbled together, torn up. Not very well kept. So we're gonna start with Darwin, because he's the one we're already on. Darwin, I imagine, wouldn't change much. I figure he would probably look pretty similar. The giant dorsal fin is fucking getting me, man. Why? What is this music? Gauntlet 3. Oh god, this is really menacing. So I don't hate the idea of things like him having a more developed fin or whatever. It looks so weird. Why would you draw it like that, Butch? Admittedly, I'm not all that familiar with the art style, so please bear with me. But yeah, I decided to go with the season 1 art style, because like I said, like the later Gumball kind of looks like he wants to impale me. And I just don't have the patience or energy for that. He doesn't have a dorsal fin though, I know. Look, I'm trying here, okay? It's the backstory. He was found as a cub and was raised in a family with his grandma. Oh, then, he probably would have, like, well, no, because he might, see, that's tough. It would probably be, like, normal clothes then, but it would probably be, like, it would be custom made, right? So his clothes would probably look a little odd. The style is, oh, I know that. His eyes are very far apart. I'm aware of the medium that they use, but naturally, we're just sketching. So... This was not a great challenge to pick. I just wanted to see if I could make like a better design. This always happens, though. I always pick at least one of these drawings where I'm not entirely happy with the outcome. Back with tissues up your nose. Oh! It's cute. We joke, they put baby clothes on him. Aw. I'm just gonna, like... I'm just gonna, like, do whatever. It's. Ah! And one of the music right now is from a game called Scumball. Ah! Timing could not have been better. He hates it, but they can let him run around naked, not after last time they were called. They can't, I'm assuming, maybe for being nacky. I like how that's their concern, not that he's a Wendigo. You're back? Hi, Bizarre Synchro! I'm here just working on a video. I don't like that Butch Hartman rendition. I don't either. It just, oh my god. Though, to be fair, my version of Darwin doesn't seem to be coming out much better. What a strange design Darwin has. Like, what an odd design. Want to talk to the Lucario? I mean, I'm a bit busy. I don't think I'd be able to provide any insight, I'm afraid. Thank you for the biddy, Bonzi. Bonzi biddy. So Gumball's VA was on someone's Minecraft stream a while back, and there's audio from me saying, I already made the, I will eliminate the middle class joke. I'm sorry, I already made the gag. I want a bit more space just in case. Fuck, I didn't hear you. This is any time somebody talks about Gumball, that clip comes up. So I think he'll be like taller than him. Let's make him like the blue. Let's actually use like the blue specifically from Gumball for this sketch, because I feel like it. Must have been when I got up to grab drink. Yeah, not the 6'6" lady you went over to grab down your chimney to eat your fridge like a snake. Like a snake. Thank you very much for the bit from Bonzi. He can unhinge his jaw and eat stuff whole. It's creepy. Well, yeah, I figured as such. I mean, he's just got the bony mass. By the way, just to make it clear, we're talking about Bonzi's character, not Gumball or Darwin. I figure he'd be very tired in 10 years. I think he'd be very tired. I would draw Darwin as a nerd because there's a reference to Darwin's. Oh, is he? Well, I did give him glasses. I didn't really emphasize them. Hang on, I'm gonna go back. I guess it would make sense he's a reference to Darwin's theory of evolution, so... And he is kind of, like, a bit of a dork, so I guess it adds up. Here, I'll, like, do, like, the SpongeBob thing, where it's just, like... He's about to college age, so yeah, definitely tired. His smile and optimism gone. He's got a bit of a crooked tail, because I think that's funny. Just some, like, at the end. Penny dumped me again! Yeah, man, this night shift is fun. He's cursed. Oh, you're back! Yay. Omega lol. Alright, there we go. The Darwin didn't come out so hot, but I do like how the Gumball came out. I don't know. Maybe we'll check for that in a minute. Oh, thank you for the biddy. Fun fact, Damien's favorite food is rotten ham. I like how the emote that you put came out all squished on my end. Because I would cry. Maybe I'll check for that in a minute. Let's, So yeah, the Darwin didn't come out too hot, but the Gumball came out pretty... I didn't even finish the Darwin, I just realized. Maybe that's... Okay, if he's a reference to the Darwin's, like, theory of evolution, maybe that's why Butch added all the extra details onto him and whatnot, because, like, he's evolved. Get it? Having said that, I really picture Gumball as a convenience store clerk that only wears nice as basic. You want to know what I figure Gumball's gonna be like when he's in college? Burger Pants. He's gonna be like Burger Pants from Undertale. Thank you for redeeming Stretch. I have OCD disorder called outline tracing disorder. Helps me with silhouettes. Well, hey. Use your condition to your advantage, my dude. I'm gonna, just real quickly have a look and see who, Damien doing track. I like how he kind of looks like he's like Swiggity Swooty coming for that booty. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick look at Dunshaku Lawrence's piece that they've shared, because it's quite good. Oh, well, I'd say thank you, but that's more Rainey's doing. Okay, so what Dunshaku did here is actually really neat. It's this cool kind of ambient piece with this monochromatic kind of color scheme going on. I don't really have too much I would redraw, as I feel like overall it's quite nice. The silhouette looks nice and clean. I love the color gradient. Maybe I would have the... okay, so my first thing. Maybe this would actually negatively affect the piece, but I would at least experiment with the idea of having the gradient for the background going in the same direction as the rest of the shading, or vice versa. I recognize that the reason why it's doing that is because of the bioluminescence of this crystal, but this I think that would help with the kind of it would help the eye, I think, follow the image a little bit better. Alternatively, what you might do is I would maybe turn down the opacity of the gradient in the background if you want to keep it like this, so that it draws less emphasis to it and creates a slightly less cluttered image. So I would say rework BG gray. Yeah, this isn't as exciting as watching me draw over it, sorry. Oh, I'm being sniffed by a gorilla. Time tracks. Damn, this is funky as hell. Wiggles. Oh no! I will say there needs to be more contrasting gradient. Yes. I would add a bit more contrast between this gradient that you used on the character and the one in the background. Either, I would suggest making the background lighter. I'm not sure how to phrase this, but angling, like you know how when you do a gradient, you kind of have to pick a direction where it goes? I would have it be, like, the same way that you did the shading. I think lighter for the background. For the gradient on here, I would definitely say maybe make it darker. I would say, yeah, darken the shading. Well, no, because I figured that the character is pretty close to the light. So I would imagine that as the light hits, the shadows would be more intense. Maggie. She's very cute, by the way. I think I've been saying he. Sorry. Oh, hang on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just... She's a bit of a tomboy. But, and I would also, instead of just having the shadows be a gradient, I would define them a bit more. Particularly where, like, say, the hair would be covering her face. This would be almost completely black. Obviously, you don't want to just make it black because that can make it look, that would make it look kind of flat. But, like, say here, having, or actually not under the chin because of where the lighting is, but like say, and then back here, like just where kind of I assume this like, this breastplate would probably have bits of it that are almost completely black, maybe a little bit under the arm, you know, define the shadows a bit more. While this is a monochromatic piece, having multiple layers of shadows and more complex shapes are perfectly fine. Just remember, where the light would not be reaching at all, it would be almost completely black. Stylization permitting. The next thing I would suggest is, for the line art, I would, the line art is all one kind of consistent thickness, and it's all, the same kind of shade of dark blue. I would suggest allowing, change line thickness in accordance with light. So when something is like, when there's more bright, when it's brighter, have the lines be less thick. So, like, say, for instance, on the snout here, it is debatably the part of the body that would be meeting the light the most. The line here would be very thin compared to the rest of the body. Thickness. Oh my god, you actually spelled it with 2 C's! I would also suggest maybe experimenting with it. You need more C. I would maybe suggest, this is a suggestion. For your lines, going in with a lighter shade of this blue for the crystals. Because there's like no glow effect off of it, which is fine. That could actually cause some visual distraction. But having the line be brighter also, yes, I need more milk. You need some milk! Anyway, helps to better imply the luminescence of the crystal without having to do a bunch of lines and rays and things like that. I'm just gonna real quickly fix something. Well, actually, hang on. First of all, this, that aside, the last thing I would suggest is maybe expression. And maybe framing, but like overall, expression, face, and body. What I suggest maybe doing is, I'm just gonna thumbnail something super quick. I'm not gonna do anything super complicated because I don't feel like there's too much I need to fix here. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's the selection launcher. Oh god, please don't. Please don't open something I don't need to open right now. So, actually, let's just for the fun of it, let's use the blue that you used for your line art. Bear to the bone! Bear to the bone! Is the crystals kind of here, maybe have them kind of... This is just kind of a suggestion. I'm feathering my lines again. If the crystal's gonna be here, maybe have them be a bit closer and almost kind of like looking over it, like, ooh, ah, or something. Like, maybe have them kind of... Because as it stands, while it's like, oh, well, this is good, but we could have them kind of like looking over it a bit. maybe almost like having them almost kind of to its side as they're looking on. This also implies more depth. Do I smell a VOD mute, or are we safe because it's all mid-fied? I think it's all safe because it's midi-fied. Also because I'm talking over it. Bad boon. I'm just gonna doodle in the crystals. I'm sorry. This isn't a very good artistic interpretation of your drawing, but consider maybe having them kind of, more like in the center, kind of giving it like a look. Almost, not completely, but almost full on. And then you kind of have like the muzzle, and then have them kind of be like, ooh, ooh, and their eyes a little bit more wide. Or you could have them like smiling, like, ah, you know, this is just a suggestion. Here, she's in a bit of a sad mood. Okay, well in that case, maybe like a kind of like, what am I doing? I could just... It's a pretty good MIDI of the song, I will say. Maybe have it so like the eye looked kind of like sad. Maybe even like a tear. But she's like kind of smiling at it, you know? She's kind of like a little smile. I think I made the crystals a bit big. But like... why is there suddenly so much licensed music? I know it's midi-fied. Okay, now I'm not gonna take the chance. I think we skipped over Pictionary. I'm gonna look up Timfall and Pictionary. Da 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 da. Seriously, what is wrong with the guy who suggested that? What? Suggested what? What, the song? You know, now that I know that she's in a sad mood, actually her positioning is fine. Honestly, because I was more positioning her because, like, she's curiously looking over it, like, ooh. But having her a bit more to the side, actually, is probably better. But... So actually, if I'm being honest, really, I think the positioning is fine. You really just need to work on the expressiveness a little bit. In that case, we actually don't... I will... You know what? I'm still gonna draw it out anyway. Because I started, might as well finish it, you know? Kind of like making her look a little, just like a little sad, but like, you know, like she's getting better, you know, she's feeling a bit better. Oh my god, the freaking select. Oh, cause I'm using 2 screens. Thanks, tablet. Nice. Yeah, so overall not too bad, I would say. Let me just... Again, maybe she's like crying a little. Give her like a bit of, just like a bit of a solemn kind of smile. Here's her very nice foofy hair. I will say, don't be afraid to add some extra layering to the hair as well. I see a bit of it, but that can help make the hair look a little bit more three-dimensional if you added like a little bit more layering. This is, to be fair, something I have to work on too. And then her kind of fin thing. Maybe have like her hand kind of over it to kind of complete, like it does feel like there's a bit of empty space here. So maybe having like the hand almost kind of like looking to touch it or something, I think might help a little bit. Admittedly, this is a very ugly hand. So there you go, something like that, I think. Not too much to change, just what I suggested with the coloring and making her a little bit more expressive, and you're good to go, basically. When I get nasally, I sound like Iago when I'm yelling. A hand would indeed do nicely. I mean, I can sound like Gilbert Gottfried. That's actually one of the voices I can do if y'all want to hear it. I know a lot of you have, but like Kim, I don't know if you've heard the Gilbert Gottfried impression that I can do, because it's actually pretty good. At least I feel like it's pretty good. I've been told it's pretty good. Do it? Okay. I'm gonna have to move back from the mic. Jeez Louise, I'm Gilbert Gottfried over here! Holy crap! Affleck! Aladdin! I'm trying to escape from Jafar, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting him! Thank you for the biddies, Bonzi. I saw that you posted something. I believe it was your Wendigo character going for a run, right? Oh, yeah, and him holding the little stuff. Oh, those are cute. I will mention that I'm not necessarily gonna get to, like, everyone's tonight. Aw, this moth... I'm gonna actually... Well, okay, we'll do the moth character after Butch Hartman. I made him curvy. Ugh. Now hydrate the throat. Yes. Yeah, I did notice that. You did take that into consideration with the hips a little. So that's good. So we're gonna look for one more Butch drawing. Not that I'm terribly worried about time, honestly. I'm looking for something good. Or, I'm sorry, good in massive air quotes. That boy got curves, damn. Maggie, I would throw off. Oh god. Oh, someone wanted to know if you drew Bean Puppy Cat. No, doesn't look like he did. Okay. Alright, you know what? Here's a good one. Okay, so... I need you guys to kind of brace yourself for this design. This is a completely original design that Butch created. For his Danny Phantom 10 years later AU fan fiction, totally something he wants them to do someday kind of idea. Now, the fact that he's... Jeez, my throat really hurts from Iago now. The fact that that was something that he wanted to do, fine, whatever. Grabs a beer, I am ready. Take one last look at... Yeah, take one look at a really good character design for a minute. I just have to point out, every art I've seen here today, I feel like is in one way or another better than Butch Hartman art. Even if you could argue maybe some of them haven't been, like, on an objective level, I would argue they have. But whatever. But from a passion level, each of you is showing more effort than I think Butch Hartman has for, like, the past 10 years. And I think that that says a lot. I wonder if foxes are the same way. You know how cats' faces get all twitchy when you poke them? Oh crap, is Fenbot down? Fenbot shouldn't be down. He might be, actually. Hang on. Thank you for pointing that out. He might actually be down. Hang on. I'm going to, close him up. Yes. Give it a minute. He may have disconnected. Actually, I'm going to take this opportunity to get some water. I will be right back.
Squidward Gaming. Ha 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 ha.
Well, sounds like Fembot's working. I could literally hear that from my headphones as I was walking in. Okay, so what we're gonna be but yeah, like I was saying, take one long good look at this pretty, like, this good character design, this really nice character design, because we're looking at a character design disaster. And this isn't gonna be as immediately viscerally unpleasant as, like, say the Clifford one or the like, it's gonna be closer to that Danny Phantom redesign that he did. So let's do, I believe her name is Hex or Hexa or something stupid like that. Anyway, here's the character. I want you to kind of take a minute to look at her, and I want you guys to tell me where your eye darted to first on the character. I want everyone to give their opinion on that, because that's going to come down to one of the major problems to his design. I want you to tell me, when you first saw this image, where was one of the first places that you looked? Chest? Okay. Waist. Okay. Void crotch. Hat. Belt. Actually, no chest. I don't know. So we've got an I don't know, a void crotch, a belt, 2 chests. A ridiculous hat. This character has absolutely no visual focus. Actually, no! I tell a lie. She does! Her crotch! All of the leading lines go to her crotch! The overly detailed lines on her cape, the boots ending where they do, the shape of the belt, the thing going down. Everything's going to her crotch. And the fact that it's just pure black is amazing. But other than that, there is absolutely no focus on this character design. Absolutely nothing. So much is going on, it is impossible to parse where your eyes are supposed to be. The main thing I would say are the glowing hand, which is not a part of the character design. That is a power. Or her crotch! Because it is the thing with the least redundant detail on it. Imagine trying to animate that cape. Also, what a weird place to hold your staff. That's an odd place to hold a staff. So, the main thing I would recommend Butch to do is just to goddamn simplify this character design. Why does she need what looks like 2 separate hair pieces, plus her hair, plus this thing? That's a walking stick. It sure looks like it. Like, why do you need the hair, this headpiece, this headpiece, this headpiece? Why? You got the cape, that's enough. I guess it's supposed to emphasize spiders, but this doesn't look like a web. It's just a bunch of... Why not just make it like a web that dangles from her shoulders? Or something. Why make it like a cape with a bunch of ugly lines on it? Ugh, this design is terrible. It's just, it's so cluttered and unfocused. That hat is ridiculous. I think that's going to be one of the first things we get rid of. There's just so much going on that it's impossible to parse where your eye is supposed to go. And that is a rookie mistake! There's so much green. And yeah, that would be fine if it wasn't different levels of green, but it's all the same. Again, it's all gross, bright, neon green. And it's competing with the void crotch and whatnot, which makes it, impossible to tell. Where are my eyes supposed to go, Butch? This is visual communication. And this is the equivalent of you smashing your keyboard. Oh my god. Okay, so... admittedly, since we're not working with colors, it's a bit hard, but let's at least give it a go anyway. You know, it kind of looks like a comic villain. I mean, like, knee-deep. And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I get that. That's fine, but like, because that's kind of what he's going for with this Danny Phantom 10 years later look. But like, this is too much. Yeah, the Hulk does have a better color scheme than this, and his is just green and purple. Sometimes blue. It depends on whether or not the artist hates comic books or not. That's a joke. Yeah. Or if it needs to be green. Like, I don't frickin' know. So admittedly, this probably isn't going to be my best art here, but let's at least try and see what we can get. That's kind of the thing, is I only do one pass on these, so they don't tend to look all that amazing. I'll usually do like 2 or 3 passes on a piece, but these I normally just go with one because I don't want to, I don't feel like her stupid cane is necessary. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Because, like, it's like this weird magic staff thing, but she's already got magic. Also, her face is like dull surprise. Okay, we need some more music. You know what? I'm gonna play that one song I always play. Why not? It's my stream, I do what I want. I didn't even line the limbs up properly. Oops. See, this is why I should be drawing a grid, kids. In fact, actually, let's do that. I recognize it's a bit late, but let's at least see if it'll help. I mean, she's floating, but, like, you know, it'll at least help to kind of position her a bit better. Like, why does she have, like, 3 headdresses? I don't understand the point. 1 should suffice. Plus the hair! Jesus! I like how I went back to trying to draw, even though, like, I didn't finish the stupid grid. Yeah, it's really not helping. Let's just keep going. I think she's supposed to be floating. With the way that the legs are, it's kind of hard to tell, honestly. So I'm just going to assume that she's, like, doing, like, a weird action floating pose and hope for the best. This looks like an ugly version of the main villain for the Lost Mind of Fan. It does! Oh my god! I never even thought about that. That's so funny. This looks like Butch is channeling her edgy, cringy teenagers that we all used to know in middle school. Okay, so me. The neon green spider doesn't have the same ring to it. No, it really doesn't. No, you know what? I got it. This isn't a Danny Phantom villain. It's a Spider-Man villain. She's Spider-Man themed. She's super comic booky looking. She's green. It's perfect. This does kind of look like some stupid Judas Traveler-esque character that they would have included in the Clone Saga, though, doesn't it? where her main gimmick is that she's mysterious. Ooh. I don't think the boots need to be that goddamn high. Also, maybe I was gonna make them arrows, but no. Let's not point towards the crotch. Thank you. I think just like a line should be fine. Frankly, if the character's design should be pointing anything, it's probably her face. I think this will be the last Butch drawing for the night, and then we'll do one more person's, and then we'll wrap up for the evening. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your art. Hopefully we'll get to do more of these, because I actually really like these streams, even though I don't always have a ton of insight when we're, like, always correct. Like tonight, like, when, Kim sent in theirs, really, it was just, add some plaid. It's not good. Susie from Deltarune. I mean, Susie doesn't really have a voice, but I'll, like, try my best. Next time, I'll go for the vitals. God damn it, Chris, where the fuck are we? I think we've been drawn by Butch Hartman. No! Thank you, Fenbot, for reminding people I do, in fact, accept tips. Tips are a fantastic way to help support the stream. They help me do things like, you know, live and continue to stream like this. So please consider shooting me a donation if you have the money and if you have the want to. It's very much appreciated. If Butch touches Deltarune, I will commit. He's gonna do it. I think he's actually done Undertale fan art. I want to say that he has. I mean, I could look it up. I could look up. Okay, if there's Undertale, I will dedicate a bit more time so we can talk about it. Butch Hartman art, Undertale. No, but he did do Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm shocked he hasn't drawn Undertale, actually. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck, he drew Katara. Oh, that's unpleasant to look at. Oh, god damn it, he drew frickin' Kim Possible, too, and she looks like shit. Also, he drew... Well, actually, no, that's fan art. And it looks better. It still doesn't look amazing, though. But, like, you know, I don't want to critique people too hard. I did find this terrifying image of Butch Photoshop to look like Sans. Thank you for the $3 from Butch Hartman Official! Oh, no! Art. Oh, fuck, he's found me! Oh, fuck. Thank you for the cheese and salt nachos, Bonzi. Yum, 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 yum. But guys, Butch found me. Oh, fuck! Mr. Hartman, I just want to take this opportunity to say, what the fuck were you thinking? Why is the main point of emphasis on the character her crotch? Hi, Mr. Hartman. I got a Sprite. Is it a Sprite Cranberry? Since we're not doing the stab, I'm gonna have to, like, pose her hand, I guess. Ugh, alright. Just Sprite. Oh, then no meme. Then again, Sprite Cranberry's like a Christmas thing, isn't it? Why did that become a meme? The Sprite Cranberry thing? Like, would someone care to enlighten me? Because I am very ignorant of that particular meme, I fear. I don't know about Sprite Cranberry. It is! Sprite Cranberry is really good. Oh my god, I'm looking forward to getting some of that around the Christmas season. I think it's Christmas. I might be wrong. Anyway, this hand looks like shit. There, see? I can admit when I draw something that looks like garbage. Also, look, he tried. Why does anything become a meme? Aw, guys, look, he tried to do Kirby Crackle. Oh, it's adorable. I should probably explain what Kirby Crackle is. If you've ever seen, like, old comic books, and, like, somebody has, like, energy emanating from their hands or something, and there's, like, a bunch of, like, dots, and, like, a bunch of, like, black dots and whatever, that was primarily done by John Kirby and is referred to as Kirby Crackle. It's an effect that I've actually used in some of my art before because I think it looks really cool, but I can never make it look right. Berry Crush Fanta? Interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Fanta, but I wouldn't mind trying that out. Berry sodas always at least have my interest. It's perfect. But, like, if you've seen any old art of, like, Thanos, you've seen Kirby Crackle. We're gonna keep the cape, but we're gonna make it a bit smaller, and we're gonna have it, like, actually moving to suggest kind of, like, movement just a little bit. Dr. Pepper is the best, yes. I will concede. I mean, not concede, because I'm always espousing how amazing it is. Also, why is her theme spiders? As far as I can tell, she doesn't have anything going on that would dictate that she's, like, a spider character. Like, visually, sure, but, like, she's not doing anything spider-themed. And as far as I know, this is the only image of this character, so... Way to go, Butch. Way to go. Give her her hair. I'm fine with it being kind of long. I'm almost kind of making her look like a good guy. I should probably fix that. Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and Dr. Pepper are my favorite, so... Ooh, all good choices. I love Cranberry Ginger, and I love Pineapple Crush. Pineapple Crush we actually don't normally have in Ottawa. For some ungodly reason. I commissioned you to draw your persona driving a Dr. Pepper car with the fridge size as a fan of a doctor. Yep, and it was amazing. I'm fine with the giant belt. I might be overdoing it a little bit, but I'm fine with the big belt. The belt's actually one of the kind of cooler looking visual elements. So let's keep that. I almost kind of want to give her like try and maybe see if I can make her look more regal because she's got like a crown and whatnot. Oh god, I'm wondering what to do with this neck. She's got the Batman gloves, I just realized. Those are just the Batman gloves. Oh my god. Butch! Give, like, a small web tiara. Yeah, I was thinking something like that. Like, you see this weird, like, Masters of the Universe crown thing? I was thinking something like that, but making it kind of shaped like a spider and having it emphasize her face a little bit. Speaking of face, let's fix this face shape. Let's make it a bit sharper. Because it's oddly, like, I mean, it is kind of sharp, but, like, I don't know, it's oddly full looking. You'd think maybe you want to go for a bit more like a Maleficent kind of look. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, you think you'd want to go for something like that if you wanted your character to be like this evil character. Like, she's supposed to be like the be-all end-all of the Danny Phantom villains, even though I would argue that would probably be like Dark Danny or something, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Small accessory gives character a bit of importance. Please keep in mind, if I had more time, I would actually probably be trying... I would probably just completely redo this design over. And definitely put more emphasis on the spiders in ways that aren't disgusting and distracting. Like having, I don't know, maybe doing something like giving her like a spider's body, or having her have pet spiders, or, you know, things that actually would tell me, oh yeah, by the way, other than having a bunch of dumb webs on her, she's actually themed around spiders. I'm gonna head out, gotta make sure the Xbox is gonna cooperate. Alright, bye Korg! Alright, now let's try and see if we can work on that tiara. Admittedly, this is gonna be a bit tough. And if I was doing this in more than one take, it would probably be beneficial if I did a few more cuts of it. But you know what? I don't want to spend too much time on this one drawing. I feel like I've already spent enough time on this one drawing. So just something kind of like this. Admittedly, again, I would want to do a couple more takes on this, but just something like this, it kind of like indicates like the spider legs or something, you know? And it helps to draw emphasis towards her face, which is already very sharp looking. Colored in like dark or like black or like a dark silver or something like that. Or hell, if you wanted, you could make it like green, add like a little green gemstone in the middle. See, he kind of did something like that, but it looks more like it's this dumb thing that goes around her chin. Oh, thank you. You see, to me, my main problem is that I feel like instead of trying, I think he was going for Jack Kirby, but failed. He should have been going for like high fantasy or something if he wanted this kind of, like, I mean, I know that Jack Kirby has some influences there too, but like, come on, man. I'm sort of fixing the arm because it's the perspective on it's a little odd. Because it should be getting shorter as it's getting closer to the camera, and I feel like I made it look kind of like long. I know that's, I mean, Butch is kind of doing that in the drawing, but let's give her kind of like okay, let's actually, I wonder if, would I be able to, okay, I'm gonna maybe see if I can like do the web thing. Let me like that idea that me and Kim had. Let's, because that's not an easy thing to draw. But we're gonna give it a go anyway, and if it looks like crap, I will just I will just go back to the regular cape. Actually, that doesn't look awful. I mean, it's not like amazingly detailed or anything, but like it definitely looks better than the kind of thing that Butch did. So instead of having it kind of fold over, maybe I can like give her like some like shoulder pads or something. Like nothing too big, just something like this. Nothing too showy. No style. give her, and to kind of have a bit more like a traditional cape thing going on, give her kind of like something like this, like a waist cape. Kind of imply regality and that sort of thing. As for that kind of weird spidery thing, I don't hate that idea, so I think I'll stick with it, but maybe just because I don't hate that idea. I kind of like it, but like I don't know. It just kind of like I think with everything else, it makes it look kind of ridiculous. But if you were to just do it on its own, it would probably look okay. Kind of give that there. Do this. Have some kind of stripies along the side here. I'm fine with basically making these tights. It really doesn't matter. But they wouldn't be pitch black if I was coloring this. Let me promise you that right now. Is it a metal? Well, actually, no. But actually, I like that idea. Well, actually, I could just go back. Hang on. I do actually like that idea. Hang on. So instead of just like the shoulder pads and whatnot, what I could do is the neck kind of starts, and then there's this kind of spider-y kind of like shoulder pad. This might take a few takes, but like, and she's kind of got like a breastplate or something, and you just draw it there to help protect her titties. And there's like a spider on it or something, and it kind of goes up. Admittedly, it's not a great interpretation of that idea, but like, you know, it still looks better than Binks. Bink Ortman. Thank you, Style, for reminding people about the fact that I accept tips, which is an awesome way to help support the stream. Please consider tipping. Okay, this is the Void Crotch. Every single okay, this character has like absolutely no place where you can focus on her because there's so much going on, except the Void Crotch, because it is the only place of visual rest. And look, like the boots, these things, this thing, all point towards the crotch. Thank you for my power comes from the Void Crotch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Butch Hartman is coming for me, guys. That's it. The streams are canceled. Butch Hartman's gonna kill me. I'm gonna give it like a gemstone or something in the middle. Admittedly, the breastplate didn't come out amazing, but that's okay. That's what multiple passes are for. Spider Lich Queen. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Is a kind of high fantasy, kind of like Lich Queen kind of character. Maybe make her like hair kind of like have like a really high widow's peak. I do not remember what this character is. It's like Void Draw or Temp Draw or something like that. I'm gonna like look up. Hold on, Butch Hartman. Wait, what the? Oh, okay. Ugh, great. I look up specifically the villain. And I can't find her. So... Spider bitch. God damn it! I found her on accident while looking for goddamn Butch art, and now that I'm trying to find her proper, I can't! I'm going to become the Joker! Alright, forgot like the Butch Hartman art Undertale. Okay, well there's the art of her. Maybe like... The hell? No, I'm looking... Oh, he drew... Oh, no, that was fan art of Sonic. Never mind. I thought like... anyway. God damn... What is this stupid bitch's name? Misery Vex! Which is a ridiculous name, but I kind of love it. Okay, bye, Bizarro Synchro! So, there is kind of my pass at Misery Vex. It's not perfect. I feel like I could, funnily enough, I think I could add a bit more detail, and it would probably look pretty alright. But, like, it's still much better than Butch's. It does help that I haven't colored her. So that's definitely a plus. That might be a fun experiment to do. What if Butch Hartman drew Binget? Oh, Jesus, don't make me try that. That's gonna make me really sad. So, yeah, as you can see, I gave her a bit of armor, nothing too special, but just a little bit, to kind of, add a sense of regality to her. She's only got one headpiece. She's got this kind of web cape to emphasize the spideriness of her. She's got the spider emblem on her chest piece. I could probably go even further with the spidery stuff if I wanted, but I don't want to go too far, or else we might end up with this. It's not a perfect design, but it's definitely better, and I can say that with confidence. Butch, get on my level. Yeah, that's right, I said it. This is a call-out post to, on my twitter.com. Shilling. Oh, also, there's, like, no dimension out. Like, there's, like, no dimension to these, to this cape. One last thing. He just kind of drew squiggles. I mean, to be fair, the way I drew the web is pretty stiff. So, but, like, still, when I drew in the cape, I tried to give it, like, a sense of, like, volume. You know, another fairly basic thing that a professional artist should be able to do. Flat-looking art style or no, you should know how to transfer the... Butch. Okay, last piece we're doing is actually a piece of fan art by One Style Fox. I meant to actually do this earlier, but I never got around to it. So, let's do this. It is this piece of fan art. I love this piece of fan art. It's done by Style. It's an adorable piece. I love it. I love getting fan art, and I love this particular piece of fan art. It's really nice. With that said, this is the feedback stream, so we are going to be giving some feedback as applicable. I'm going to grab Fox's ref, because I'm going to need it. Oh yeah, I started drawing a hold on, just real quick. I forgot I started drawing this. And I never finished it. I think I started drawing this on stream and then I never finished it. That's right, yeah. Okay, anyway. Be gone thought. Excuse me. Where's her ref? There it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab the front view of her. Because, you know, although admittedly she's being drawn from the side, but still. This is the side of the ref I feel the most comfortable using. Okay, so from the top. There's definitely a lot that I actually really like here. Like, one of the things I actually really dig is I really like how you did the lines on the skirt style. Like, I like the little dashes and whatnot. Funnily enough, that's actually one of the things where you could argue that quote-unquote feathering comes in handy, because it does actually give it a bit of texture. Not so keen on whatever's going on here. It kind of looks like, I think the idea is that the dress is meant to be kind of bunched up as she's sitting down. You don't really need to do that. You could probably just draw the edge and just not have the extra fold, and it would be fine. So I'm just going to start sketching, and we're going to see where it takes us. The hair, I feel like, should probably have followed a more natural kind of flow. As well, I'm actually going to extend the canvas. Yes, I do constantly extend my own canvas to the point of it being unnecessary. I really hope Style's still here. I would very much hate to have done their thing and they didn't get to see it. Alright. In fact, that seems like it's happening a lot tonight. Anyway, so if she's kind of resting her arm and she's kind of like, hang on, if she's kind of like resting her arm down, her shoulder would actually probably be pushed up a bit as opposed to where they're more level. So I would kind of push it up like so and draw the establishing lines. And on that, her hip would be kind of in opposite, because that's generally a good posing rule. Have your hip and your shoulders going in kind of the opposite direction. If you have them moving together, that risks the pose looking a lot more flat. It can happen, but like it is generally something that can make a pose look more flat. You didn't really do that here. In fact, I mean, you did the thing that I just suggested doing here, so that's good, at least. Though, like I said, the shoulders are pretty level. I think you could push that a little bit more and get away with it. It would probably be fine. Pushing your hips out a little. Admittedly, this is a pretty tricky pose to do. I actually really like how you drew the legs. There's a decent sense of depth to them. So that's good. I wouldn't change too much about that. Personally, oh my god, her legs are very thick. I don't even normally draw the legs in first. What am I doing? Fox, what the fuck? Hey guys, what if Butch Hartman drew Fox? In fact, actually, something I really like that you did was that you placed one of the, like...
Squidward Gaming. Ha 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 ha.
You placed one of the feet in front of the other one. That, again, helps to create depth, which is good. Depth is what we're shooting for. So that's actually really good. Good work, my friend. I'm actually going to draw the first leg first. That might actually help me to figure out how I want to pose the second leg. Because it's probably going to be similar, but, like, again, this isn't an easy pose. You picked a pretty complicated pose, especially with a character having digit-grade legs, so kudos. What I'm actually thinking of doing is, hang on. If I can, like, if I can stop sucking for a second. There we go. I think I got it. That character looks... Oh, thank you. She's mine. She's my girl. She's my son. She make me... She fluffy because I like fluffy. So yeah, I kind of emulated what you were doing. The legs are a little bit more at rest though. Just slightly. Thank you for redeeming posture check. I actually do need to change my posture. Posture. Posture, not posture. Posture. Jeez, I can't talk today. I like how I'm drawing her hair. Doesn't even look like her hair. Actually, that is something. The way that her hair is moving, it kind of doesn't look like it would fall into this shape. So maybe I would consider, because Fox's hair does have a particularly odd shape. Like, that regular hair is not shaped like that. So you kind of have to play around with the rules of it a little bit and kind of make it work more like anime hair or something like that, where it's more about the flowful movement than it's necessarily would be, you know, trying to imagine which each individual hair would, like, move. So instead, maybe just mostly having these be the same, maybe implying a bit of movement, particularly with the fact that she has these little fluffy bits out here. So just kind of, like, having them be like that or something. Hang on. So they're just kind of, like, pushing it back. And then having, I do like that you have, like, different areas. Again, I like that you focused a lot on volume. It seemed that you kept that in mind. Drawing through and making sure that there was a sense of dimensionality. You were very good about that in this drawing. And that's, that helps to create a more weighty, more real feeling character. So you did a very good job on that style. So definitely big kudos to that. It is something I feel like a lot of artists struggle with, is drawing through and making their drawings feel more... Okay, even if it's very stylized, like if you look at my art is very stylized, right? Characters tend to have thick outlines, big eyes, things like that. It's very cartoonish, but there's still like a sense of dimensionality to them. There's like layers and things like that. And you definitely paid attention to that when you were drawing this. The only place I'd say maybe you could have used a bit more work was the tail. But the tail is one of the hardest things to figure out what to pose, so I'm not really gonna give you too much crap for that. Well, I mean, I'm trying not to give you crap regardless, but you know what I mean. I mean, you went out of your way to draw my character. I'm grateful regardless. But I don't think I've ever gotten like fan art that I don't think was well drawn. Like, and even if it was, I would still love it anyway, because Fan art. I love getting fan art. It's not something I get a lot of, but the fox is awesome. And oh, thank you. You too, Voltage. I think you're all awesome and fabulous. I think maybe changing her expression a little bit because she's just kind of like doing her thing. She's almost kind of got like a quivering lip thing going on. Like it almost kind of looks like she's about to start crying. And like happy crying. Who doesn't love getting fan art? I don't know. People who are overly protective of their characters, but instead maybe having her with like a content, closed-eyed smile, I think also kind of helps sell the emotion. But anyway, getting back to the hair again, because I did add some layering and whatnot, which is good. Anyway, and then we can just kind of yes, please change the expression. You didn't like the expression? Admittedly, I'm not doing a much better job of pushing the hair out. But something like this, I would imagine. Instead of trying to imagine... Closer to actually how you did it in the front, albeit with a bit more exaggeration, like pushing that back. Rather than in the back where I feel like you felt like you had to try and get every... Imagine how every single individual hair would be moving in the wind and then try and simulate it. With a character like Fox, you don't have to worry about that. Imagine if Nintendo went after the fan art the way they go after Fangame. I don't think they could. Like, I don't think in that instance they would actually even have a legal ground to stand on. Because, like, didn't Hasbro try to do that with some Gen 5 fan art, and then it just didn't go anywhere, so they just stopped trying? Or am I misremembering? One of the things I noticed that's a slight anatomical oddity is her chest. To be fair, tits are hard, and I still don't really like how I draw tits either. They're hard, but they should still be following along with the volume of the chest like the rest of the body. So, as you can see, I kind of give her a slight kind of pushed up body. So, keeping that in mind, we'll draw the place where I want the breasts to be and how they kind of link up to the arms. This is assuming she's, like, wearing a bra, I guess. There you go. So it looks a little bit less weird now. Also, I can't... This isn't a critique, but you gave her sizable chest. Like, I just noticed that. Anyway. No, not a lot. This was made around the time you made it official that you were a woman, so I wanted a hopeful, looking forward to the future kind of expression. Ah, fair enough. I appreciate that. One of the, again, just want to make this clear. Even if I am providing critique, I still love... I'm sorry, I don't draw tits often. It's fair enough. No, don't worry. Even as I am providing critique, I think every art we've looked at tonight, except for the Butch stuff, has been good. I could say, looking at it, this is a good piece of art. Could they be improved? Always. I mean, a lot of my art could be improved. We literally spent half of one of these streams that I did making fun of my old art. And I'm sure in a year or two, I'll be looking back at some of the things I did here as I gave you advice. I'm like, what was I thinking? But, like, we all improve. But the size was 100% intentional. Yeah, literally just said, I'm gay. Sorry. Alright, so as you can see, one of the things I feel like that you could, kind of improve on, getting back to the critique, was if you look, I made one of the shoulders more pushed up, and I made the rest of the body more lax. I feel like every part of the body here is about the same level of relaxedness, which is to say that, like, it looks like she's tensing up her whole body to pose. Whereas she should probably be a bit more, the most tense part of her body should be her arm. And then the rest of her should look kind of, like, laxed. Like, she's calm. Like, allow gravity to just take control of the body, if that makes sense. And like, if you look at the way you did her arm, it's kind of, like, almost clenched up and, like, pressed against her body, like, folded against it. Whereas when I drew it, I kind of gave it, like, it's just kind of lazily there. It's a less tense curve of the arm, and the hand is kind of just hanging out with the family, having itself a party. You know what I mean? The best way to emphasize, I guess, a kind of a softness of, like, when something is less tense would be with softer shapes, I would say. More round shapes and whatever on the body. Implies less toughness. It makes it look less rough. The tail, positioning the tail is always one of the hardest things. I had mentioned earlier that I felt like this is probably the most obvious example where I feel like that, like, in, like, her body doesn't really seem like it's relaxing. I would have it just kind of, like, resting here. Just kind of sitting, you know, nothing too extravagant. It's just pressed against the ground. Maybe not behind her arm, but, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe even having it, like, kind of curved slightly, you know? Like, just do something like that. Or maybe pressing it up here. And maybe having it curl at the end. Part of the image I had in my head was she was putting herself up, getting ready to stand to take the next step. Ah, fair enough. That could be a little bit more difficult. And, again, from the way I read it, it was more like she's just standing there relaxing. Which I really like the idea of. I can kind of see where you're coming from now I've looked at. You know what? This placement of the tail, this part of the body is actually not too bad. I think it creates some nice visual asymmetry. But again, maybe only having it like curled up at like the top and then like the rest of it is on the ground. Something like this. Again, you did a really good job at like layering, having like different like layers to create dimensionality with the rest of it, but the tail's just kind of sticking out. So something like this, where most of it looks like it's kind of behind her, and it's like slack on the ground, and then maybe at like the end it's tipped up. Maybe giving it a bit of effect from the wind, but like that's it. Something like that. But that relaxed, tense comparison makes a lot of sense. Yeah, even if she is preparing to get up, parts of her body would be like... they wouldn't be at full tenseness yet. Which, I mean, they don't look like they're at full tenseness, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, thank you. Now, let's draw in some clothes. Nothing too extravagant. Again, I actually quite like how you drew the... I like how, yeah, it would kind of push up if it was going against the wind. That does make sense. I do think that maybe having it go a little back a little more... Well, actually, now that I'm looking at it, that looks super awkward. But you did do... Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe it would, like, be kind of flowing like this and then rested on the ground. Skirts are hard. Skirts are very hard. Let's start with the shirt. If we do the shirt. I think Corgi started streaming. I'm gonna send you guys over to her probably when we're done. Part of it made it easy was she's sitting on part of the skirt, meaning only some of the skirt. Yeah, fair enough. Like, again, I did notice that you did draw that. I felt like the folding on it was a little bit awkward, but I did get what you were putting down. I did pick up what you were putting down. I said that a lot tonight. Anyway, and it won't lift a whole lot either due to the tension force of the dread. Yes, it wouldn't lift a lot. Anyway, I'm just gonna... with the glasses. And there we go. The main things I would want you to focus on moving forward. I feel like you have a good sense of layering, if that makes any sense. When you're doing like art, you have a good sense of layering. Like I pointed this out earlier. I like that you had one of the feet are rested in front of the other one. I like that. That's and the legs too. That's a good sense of layering. It helps to create depth. Same with the ears. It makes the drawing appear more three-dimensional. Therefore, safer work. It makes the drawing more three-dimensional. I feel you did a good job. I feel like that tension and more tense parts of the body and more relaxed parts of the body are things you could definitely improve on. It's not too bad, but like that can make a lot of difference in a drawing and help push an emotion even forward. I know you mentioned you didn't like the expression. I would definitely just take some time, just draw some expressions. I've seen you do expressions before and they weren't too bad, so you know. The hair, I think drawing like the shape, the big shapes of it out first would help go a long way to help make it, to help you shape the hair a little better. I actually missed part of her hair. Hang on, there we go. Would go a long way to help with the consistency, because part of it's like all big clumps, but then the rest of it's like a little tiny little bits. But I think if you just focused on the big shapes and moving the big shapes with like stuff like that would help a lot. Also maybe like sculpt placement and things like that. The tail is one of the hardest parts of the body, I think, to help a lot. Just remember, it's basically a tube. So draw it like you would a tube. Draw through with it like you would drawing through with a tube. Maybe start with a line of action to help. And then, like, you know, there you go. It's like a tube, basically. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, other than that, I still really love this piece that you did. I still think it's great. It was, again, one of the first pieces of female Fox fan art that I got. And I'm always really jazzed whenever I see it. So, I'm gonna stop the music because it is 11 and we're wrapping up. So, that will be all, folks. I'm gonna put that under, session 4. Alright, we are gonna wrap up for the evening. Again, thank you all very much for everyone who submitted their work. Thank you for listening to me rambling about how much I hate Butch Hartman's art. Thank you for Bonzi for all the donos, and from quote-unquote Butch Hartman official for all the donations. And thank you for like Style for the fan art, and thank you for everyone who submitted. Thank you just all. Thank you for painting Fembot. Thank you just all for being so awesome. It feels so good to be back. I know I was only gone for like a week, but like damn, that was a long week, and it feels like it's been so long since I've streamed. Toby, drawing you again. Thank you. Oh, by the way, you want to know how many frames I've dropped? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. Anywho, as per normal, let us find someone to raid. And by that, I mean let us raid Cosmic Void Mage, who's going to be playing Silent Hill 2. It's nice to have you back. I miss this a lot, to be honest. Thank you for the good night. Oh, I love you too, Kaze. I'm going to send you guys over to Cosmic Void Mage. Alright, I will catch you guys. Fox is naked. Oh, no. I will catch you guys. Oh, good night. Style. Good night, everyone. I love you. Mwah. Bye.